Hello, and welcome to Budget Commander. On this channel, we'll discuss Magic the Gathering topics with a focus on playing Commander on a budget. We'll cover things like deck building, top cards, deck techs, and more. Let's get started. Hello friends, today we have a Marisi Breaker of the Coil deck tech for you. This is specifically a 1DH budget deck tech. 1DH is when all the cards in the deck are $1 or under, with the exception of the commander, which can be up to $5. Total cost of this deck was $36, rounded up using mtgstocks.com to price check. Note that all the prices on the cards are as of the day of recording, so when you see this, prices might have raised or lowered since then. The goal of this deck is a tribal deck, so you want to get lots of cats out, and then you also want to encourage your opponents to attack each other. You kind of want to make this game fast and combat based. It helps if your playgroup plays lots of creature heavy decks, because this allows your opponents to help you eliminate the other players. Marisi comes with this goad ability, so he says whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, goad each creature that player controls. When a creature is goaded, that means until the next turn, or until your next turn, the creatures attack each combat if able, and attack a player other than you if able. So this is really good in multiplayer games because you can force your opponents to attack each other, but even if you get down to just one opponent left, you can still hopefully force your opponent into some bad attacks and eat some of his valuable utility style creatures. As always, we're going to start out by talking about Accelerants, then we'll move into the game plan, which I explained to you. Then we'll talk about ways that you're going to interfere with your opponent's game plan, and then the cards that provide your deck consistency. Lastly, we'll talk about the mana base, the lands that are going to help you cast the spells in this deck. So for Accelerants, we're running Rampant Growth, Cultivate, and Farseek. Rampant Growth and Farseek help us get a land to the battlefield early. Rampant Growth can get anything. Farseek is restricted to a plains or mountain. Cultivate gets us one land to the battlefield early, anything we want, basic that is, and then an extra land to our hand, so it really helps smooth out our land drops. Last Accelerant in this deck is the Talisman of Conviction, a 2-to-cast mana rock that taps to add a colorless. We can also tap it for red-white at the cost of 1 life. Get into our game plan, so here we're going to look at the cats that we're going to be putting on the battlefield. Leonin Vanguard is a 1/1 for 1, but it becomes a 2/2 as long as we have 3 cats on the battlefield. Wild Nicatl is a 3/3 as long as we control a mountain or a plains. And then we have the Adorned Pouncer, a 1/1 with double strike, but more importantly it has Eternalize, which means from the graveyard we can pay 5 to bring it back as a 4/4 zombie cat with double strike. Then we have the Leonin Sky Hunter, comes with flying, which is some nice evasion. Hungry Lynx, which gives our cats protection from rats. And then at the beginning of our end step, we are going to give one of our opponents a 1/1 rat token with Death Touch. And then whenever a rat dies, so theoretically our opponent's rats, we're going to put a +1/+1 counter on each of our cats. So with our opponents being goaded, they're going to have to attack with these 1/1s. Our opponents have to decide to either take that damage or give us +1/+1 counters. Then we have Nicatl Outlander, a 2/2 with protection from blue. So hopefully that gives us evasion from any mono blue players or players that are blue heavy that don't have any other way of blocking the Outlander, which will theoretically goad his creatures or her creatures into attacking. Pride Sovereign is a 2/2 that is +1/+1 for each cat we control, so he'll be pretty big on his own, but we can also pay 1, tap him, or we'd like to double tap, so turn it upside down and then untap, halfway untap, exert the Pride Sovereign, and create 2 1/1 cat creature tokens. So the tokens also have lifelink, so a good way to keep filling up the board. White Sun Zenith is an instant that costs 3 white and X, and then we get to create X 2/2 white cat creature tokens and shuffle it back into our deck. So great way at the end of somebody's turn, right before we untap, to just flood the board with a bunch of cats. Sky Hunter Skirmisher is a 1/1 flyer with double strike. That flying evasion is really nice to help us get the goad in, but also if we can equip the Sky Hunter, the double strike on it, allows it to do some do some work as well. With most tribal decks, you're going to play some suboptimal cards, but for a flavor win, we got Elite Cat Warriors and Cat Warriors, a 2/3 and 2/2 respectively, and both of them have Forest Walk, which means they're unblockable as long as our opponent controls a forest. We also have the Kasali Ambusher, which is a 2/3 that costs 3 and it has reach. But if a creature is attacking us and we control a forest in the plains, we can flash out the Ambusher for free and hopefully get in a positive net gain block on one of our opponent's creatures. Maybe they think they're going to get in on us for free, then we throw this guy out there and get a surprise block on him. Marisi's Twin Claws is a 2/4 with double strike. We also have Spirit of the Hearth, a 4/5 flyer, and that gives us hexproof, so our opponents can't target us as a player. And then Jedit Ojanon of Afreva. Great card, a 5/5 for 6 with Forest Walk. Whenever Jedit Ojanon of Afreva attacks or blocks, we get a 2/2 Cat Warrior with Forest Walk. I have yet to see him survive one pass around the table, but I've played him in several other decks just because he's a pretty powerful card, but so many people run green that they don't want this to stay on the table, so I haven't seen him untap, but I like him and he goes with the theme of the deck, so hopefully he works out for you in your play group. We also have Oath of Ajani, so once we get all our cats out, we're going to try to pump up those cats, make them more powerful so that they can finish off our opponents faster. It does say that it gives Planeswalkers -1 on their casting cost. We're not using it for that. It's just a one-time pump effect where we play this card and give all of our creatures a +1/+1 counter. We also have the Loxodon Warhammer and the Sword of Vengeance, which give trample, which is a great evasion, but it also pumps our creatures and gives some other benefits: lifelink, first strike, vigilance, haste. So great utility cards there. King of the Pride is an Anthem creature giving all of our other cats +2/+1. Behemoth Sledge gives a creature +2/+2 lifelink and trample. Then we have the Sigil of the Nyan Gods, gives a creature +1/+1 for each creature we control. We also early game or late game, if we just have extra mana lying around, we don't want to use it as an aura, we can cycle it for a green or white, so very versatile there, which means you just discard it and then you get to draw a card. So if you're looking for a particular answer, Sigil of the Nyan Gods not it, cycle it away, get something else. Otherwise, a great way to pump a creature up and make it huge. Jazal Goldmane is a 4/4 for 4 with first strike, so great stats on him. He also comes with the activated ability of pay 3 and 2 white to give all of our attacking creatures +X/+X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. Since we're trying to flood the board with tons of cats, I mean, even just attacking with 3 cats and paying 5 seems like a pretty fair deal, giving all your creatures +3/+3. Potentially you'll be attacking with a lot more. Regal Caracal is another way that allows us to pump our cats and flood the board. It gives all of our cats +1/+1, or all of our other cats, sorry, +1/+1 and lifelink. So nice life gain there. And then also when it enters, it creates 2 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink. With the Caracal on the battlefield, they're essentially 2/2 tokens. So you're getting 7 power for 5 mana with a bunch of lifelink. Good trade there. We also have Dictate of the Twin Gods, a 5 to cast enchantment that says if a source would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to that permanent or player. So this helps accelerate the game. With our opponents goaded, they'll be attacking each other, dealing double damage. This is good for us. Arabo, Roar of the World, a fine commander in his own right. We're not using him in the command zone today, which is why we only care about that bottom ability. He is a 5/5 to cast, 4/5, and he says whenever another cat we control attacks, we can pay 1 green and a white to give that cat trample and +X/+X, where X is its power. So double its power and toughness essentially, and give it trample. Great way to get in and deal lots of damage. Rakasha Golden Cub is a 3/4 for 7, so terrible stats for the mana. Does have vigilance, but if we can equip him with one of our artifacts, he gets +2/+2 and double strike, and he gives all our other cats +2/+2 and double strike. So he becomes very, very good as long as we can equip them. I like that conditional benefit. Gives you kind of like a mini game and your opponent's mini game to play of trying to equip him or keep him unequipped. We also have Titanic Ultimatum, which costs 7, 2 red, 3 green, 2 white, and it says until end of turn, creatures you control get +5/+5, first strike, lifelink, and trample. This is a game finisher in the right situation, so try to time it, but very powerful card. Also flavor win because it's got cats on it. Then we have Hearth Charm, a 1 to cast instant for a red. We get 3 choices. The one you're most likely going to be choosing is the third one, which says target creature with power 2 or less is unblockable. So you can be able to make one of your creatures unblockable. But you can also give all of your attacking creatures +1/+0, or destroy an artifact creature with it. So very versatile card there. Key to the City is a 2 to cast artifact, which gives our creatures unblockable as long as we can discard a card. So tap it, discard a card, and then one of our creatures is unblockable, so hopefully we're goading an opponent with it, and it can help us cycle our deck because when we untap with it, we can pay 2 and draw a card. Prowler's Helm is an equipment that essentially gives unblockable. It says equipped creature can't be blocked except by walls, so some great evasion cards here. We also have Goblin War Drums and Gruul War Chant, which give our creatures menace, another form of evasion. The War Chant does give all of our attacking creatures +1/+0, so pumps them up, speeds up the game a little bit. And then we have Jareth Leonin Titan. He's a 4/7 for 6, so a big blocker. Plus when he blocks, he gets +7/+7, so he's a 7 or 11/14 huge creature when he blocks. But more importantly, he's got the activated ability, pay a white, and Jareth gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. So a lot of times we can just give him the protection from the color he needs so that he can attack without being blocked, therefore goading our opponents into attacking each other. Bloodthirsty Blade, another way that we can goad our opponent's creatures. It's a equipment that gives a creature +2/+0 and they're goaded, and you pay 1 to attach it to one of your opponent's creatures. You can only activate this anytime you could cast a sorcery, so if you have cards that get around that, you're kind of stuck with doing it at sorcery speed, but either way, great. Druid's Deliverance is a fog effect that costs 2, but it allows us to populate. We create a lot of cat tokens, so this just gives us an extra cat for essentially 1 more mana and protects us from a lot of combat damage or other damage. Warp and Vigor is kind of an anti-board wipe. If somebody tries to wipe the board or just destroys a really vital creature that we need in that moment, we can pay 2 and regenerate all of our creatures. Then we have Rootboard Defenses, another board wipe protection. It gives all of your creatures indestructible until end of turn. Also it populates, so it creates us another cat token. And Set's Tiger, which is a 3/3 with flash. You pay 2 and 2 white, and when it enters the battlefield, you gain protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. So somebody swings in, Alpha Strike on you, you put out Set's Tiger at flash speed, give yourself protection from red if that's what's going to deal you the most damage, and now you reduce your damage for that turn. Great card, and it's a cat, so it fits in well here. Naya Charm is a super versatile card that allows us to either deal 3 damage to a creature, return a card from our graveyard to our hand, or tap all the creatures of our opponent's control. So if we're not using this to remove a creature, we also have other cards like Grappling Hook or Mercy Killing, which help us to remove our opponent's creatures. Grappling Hook forces our opponent to block with the creature of our choice. So you equip it for 4, gives the equipped creature double strike, and it says whenever equipped creature attacks, you may have target creature block it this turn if able. So you can force your opponent into bad blocks that way. Mercy Killing, love to use after you've goaded your opponent. Then you cast Mercy Killing, kill off their big thing, and then give them a ton of elves, which is going to allow them to get in on an opponent with a bunch of creatures. Kind of situational, you have to try to use it in the right instance, but a good removal that's going to give your opponent a bunch of elves. You can also use it on your own creature to allow yourself to get in. Not a good flavor win since it's elves, but good card nonetheless. Sundering Growth Casali, Slingers, and Rampage of the Clans are going to help us remove our opponent's artifacts and enchantments. When we cast Sundering Growth, we are going to populate after we destroy an artifact or enchantment. Casali Slingers is a 3/5 cat for 5. Comes in, and you get to destroy target artifact or enchantment when it enters. And anytime another cat enters after that, you get to destroy stuff. So you're going to really remove a lot of artifacts and enchantments if this card stays on the battlefield. It also has reach, so it can give you some blocks on some of those medium to small flyers. Rampage of the Clans is great because we're not running a ton of artifacts or enchantments. It destroys all the artifacts and enchantments for 4. And then for each permanent destroyed this way, its controller creates a 3/3 Centaur creature token. So this helps get us more creatures, even if we're getting rid of some of our own artifacts or enchantments. It also gives our opponents more creatures, so that way the goad ability works a little bit better and also speeds up the game. So Rampage of the Clans is a great fit in this deck. Last card that's for interference, we have Mass Calcify, a 7 to cast board wipe. So pretty expensive, but it says destroy all non-white creatures. Majority of our creatures are white, and also white is the least favorite color in, at least among my circles, and traditionally what I hear is the least favorite color for commander players. And so this is going to oftentimes remove everybody else's creatures but leave your board nice and full. So one-sided board wipe here, hopefully. Cards that are going to provide us consistency, we have Mimic Vat and Soul Foundry, which kind of help create tokens. The Mimic Vat, you're going to copy a creature that dies, so exile it with the Mimic Vat, and then for 3 and a tap, you get to create a token copy of that card each turn. The Soul Foundry, you're going to do a similar thing, but instead of copying a creature that dies, when you cast the Soul Foundry, you exile a card from your hand, and then you can pay X and tap it to create a token that's a copy of the exiled card by paying the X, which is the converted mana cost of the exiled card. Kembakar Regent, you just want to equip her to the gills, get as much equipment on her as you can. At the beginning of your upkeep, you're going to get a 2/2 white cat creature token for each equipment attached to her. So great way to fill the board up and give you a ton of cats. Colossal Majesty is going to give you a draw at the beginning of your upkeep if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. Elemental Bond is going to draw you a card every time a creature with power 3 or greater enters the battlefield under your control. And Nazan Revered Bladesmith is a 5/4 for 6. And we don't care about the top ability because it's not in our budget. When you're balling on a budget, you just care about the bottom ability, which is whenever an equipped creature you control attacks, you may tap target creature defending player controls. This gives us a good way to get in and continue the goaded effect on our opponents. For some card draw, we have Harmonize, just draws you 3 cards for 4 mana. Fair deal. Keeper of Fables, a 5 to cast 4/5 cat, that whenever one of our cats deals damage to an opponent, we're going to draw a card. Shamanic Revelation draws us a card for each of the creatures we control. We play a ton of creatures, so could draw us a bunch of cards. And we're going to gain 4 life for each creature we control with power 4 or greater. Good include in this deck. For lands, we have Blossoming Sands, Greypelt Refuge, Selesnya Sanctuary, which give us green-white. Boros Garrison, Windscarred Crag, which give us red and white. Rule Turf gives us green-red. And then we have Exotic Orchard, which gives us any color that our opponent's lands can produce. Jungle Shrine, which comes in tapped but gives us any of our colors. Rogue's Passage, which makes one of our creatures unblockable. Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, helps us fix our colors, get the colors we need. We also have Naya Panorama, which can tap for a colorless, but it also allows us to fetch a land out of our deck by paying 1 and sacrificing it. Myriad Landscape, Croson Verge, and Blighted Woodland all get us 2 lands to the battlefield tapped. Myriad Landscape has to get 2 of the same color. Croson Verge has to get a forest and a plains each time, and Blighted Woodland can get us anything we want or need. And then for basics, we're running 9 forests, 12 plains, and 5 mountains. Average CMC of this deck was 3.49 with any card at X or X in the cost. I averaged it at 7 or just assumed it cost 7. So a little bit of guesswork there, but very middle of the line, middle of the road CMC, so very fair deck here. If you like playing tribal decks, if you want to have some fun playing cats, or you're a cat person, give this deck a go. Let me know how you like it, any upgrades you might make on it. Otherwise, let me know which commander you'd like to see next. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Peace. Thanks for watching. You can help support this channel by hitting that subscribe button. This will help keep you up to date on content from Budget Commander. If you liked the video, make sure you like the video. Leave me a comment with your thoughts on this topic. And if you think someone else could benefit from this video, feel free to share. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk with you next time.